Hi, welcome back to the channel and to another one of our videos devoted entirely to life with a CITROEN AMI. And today we're going to look at a subject that I know has interested many of you because you've messaged me, and it's the whole issue of whether a car which only goes at 28 miles per hour causes road rage. So we're very lucky today to be joined by our resident anger management expert, Mr. Boo, and his array of rear cameras, side cameras, front cameras, well, we won't say where he's put the other cameras, which are going to analyse what happens to the other drivers as we drive the AMI in 3 different contexts. To begin with, we're going to drive it here in the centre of Nice in an urban environment. This is, of course, as Citroën like to call it, an urban mobility object. So this is where this car, this quadricycle, is meant to work best. So Mr. Boo, let's now head to the Promenade des Anglais and by the magic of television see what people's reactions are. So how are we doing so far, Mr. Anger Management Specialist?
Well, everyone's pretty calm. We're in the middle lane because we don't get trapped behind the buses that way, but people don't really like that because people don't want to be trapped behind a bus or behind us.
But we're not holding anybody up at the minute, are we?
No, so far so good.
So we're on a road here which is 3 lanes wide, 50 kilometres an hour speed limit, and we're going at sort of 40, 42. We quite often do go full lick on here if it's a little bit less busy. So I don't really think the CITROEN AMI causes any problems on this road.
No, not really at all.
And this is one of the most open city centre roads. Let's now go into the actual city centre itself and just see how the AMI performs there. So we are now in a truly urban environment, one-way street, parking both sides, bikes, quite narrow, and I have to say this is where the CITROEN AMI comes into its own because she's a narrow girl, isn't she?
She is. Neat and petite.
She's neat and petite. There's no wide hips to the AMI, and she's very nifty in town centres, and she's very easy to park, especially if you reverse in. It's taken me only 3 months to learn that. You will see though that people still find this vehicle quite a novelty. You can see the lady and gentleman out there. Whilst I think Citroën have sold about 10,000 in France so far, maybe more actually. It's still a relative rarity. Although I'd say overall we're seeing probably 1 a day now in this area, don't you think?
Yeah.
Sometimes 2. So they're not as rare as you'd think. But you can see on a street like this, in which you've parking both sides, in which you've a cycle path down to the right here, this car is kind of ideal. But we're now going to go to test number 2, which is the commute, i.e. from the city to the village of Villefranche. So we are now coming through the port of Nice and heading on the main road, the Princess Grace Boulevard, the Boulevard of Broken Dreams, to Villefranche. This is a drive we do probably every day. It's in many ways what I think an AMI was also made for, which was your commute from home into the city. But this is, what's the speed limit on this road, Mr. Boo?
Again, 50 all the way, apart from by the school where it's 30.
Ah, slow down for the school. So let's see whether we are holding people up on this road. Now at 30 miles an hour going up here, 30 kilometres an hour going up here, and this is the school bit, so it's only meant to be 30, isn't it?
Yeah.
This bit, and then there's another bit at the top. How's the anger management behind us? Any traffic queue?
No, there's just 1 car and 1 motorbike. Let's see if they try and get round us.
we're really remaining equidistant, aren't we?
We are.
And you know, as with many roads in sort of semi-urban environments, it's all stop-start anyway. It's traffic lights and it's speed bumps and all the rest of it. So, in my experience, the Citroen Ami usually causes very few problems on here. But I have on occasion come across, it has to be said, sometimes white van men who I think, you know, because they're not driving their own white van, they like to throw it about and go over speed bumps fast and get to where they want to go. And I did have one day a guy go absolutely ape with me down here for going only 45 kilometers an hour. But you know, that's all this car can do. Now it will be interesting when this vehicle launches in, say, Britain, and of course it's still going to be, I think, pegged to this sort of speed limit, though there was some talk I read this week of it being going a little bit quicker, but I'm not sure about that. But in Britain there is of course no tradition of cars going at 45 kilometers an hour. In France, in Italy, there is a long and dishonorable tradition of voitures sans permis, which are cars without licenses and that are limited in speed. So we're on a bit of open road now. Let's see what happens. This is, I guess, a potential area where somebody might think they could go a little bit quicker than us. We're going 40 up this hill, 41, 42. So she's doing well, Elton, isn't she? Interestingly, Elton is coming up for her 2,500th kilometre. Maybe we should do a video with our sort of 2,500 kilometre thoughts.
A review
of what's worked and what hasn't worked and any problems we've had. Maybe drop us a comment in the comments section if that's of interest, or just, you know, give us a thumbs down if it isn't. No, don't give us a thumbs down. But so far I don't think we've caused any problems on this road, do you? Okay. We'll see when we get onto the slightly faster bit down here where people could overtake what happens. I don't know if you can see up ahead of us, but there's a very big dumpster which is causing far more traffic problems than our little Ami at the minute. But this section is 30, isn't it?
Yep. And the speed bumps
and
again.
The speed bumps. I would say though that I think speed wise possibly the Ami has to slow down more for the speed bumps than perhaps a car with sort of big suspension. You do feel like you'd do a lot of damage if you went over a speed bump at full 45.
But remember the Ferrari race?
Oh yes, remember that video when we raced a Ferrari. They couldn't go over the speed bumps as quick as we could because they're so low, aren't they?
They're so low.
So expensive. So I think you can pretty well see that on a road like this where the limit is 50, where overtaking is very difficult anyway, that a Citroen Ami going at full speed, which is usually what I would do the whole way along here, I just tend to put my foot down the floor and it's like an on-off switch, causes very few problems. But now let us head for the Moyen Corniche, where the speed limit is 70, where overtaking is possible, where lots of guys like this Porsche driver in front of us here like to go and let rip, as it were. Let's see what happens up there, because the Ami may be a little less suited to that. So we are coming now up one of the steepest hills in Villefranche. Are we clear?
Yeah.
Onto the Moyen Corniche, and this should provide a much sterner test of people's anger management, shouldn't it?
Yeah, struggling at 32 on this bit.
Yeah, 32, 33. So it's fine, but you're very conscious that you are going pretty slowly on a 70 kilometre an hour road, and if it was much busier, particularly when you get to this bit, you're going to be causing people problems. But further up here we're going to go onto an even more tricky road for the Ami, because it's downhill but it's a very busy downhill route.
And very bendy.
And very, very bendy. So we're now accumulated a line of about 4 cars, Mr. Boo.
4 or 5 cars now.
4 or 5 behind us. We can overtake this cyclist on his e-bike though.
Is it a motorbike cam?
Might have been, but it was an e-bike. So it's in these sections where I think the AMI can potentially pose danger. Not well, it's because in the end some people get too frustrated and they may then try and overtake in less than safe ways, particularly here where it's 70.
And only one lane.
Let's see if this guy behind us has the nerve to have a go for it. There he goes. We're down to 39 now. Overtaken by an old Peugeot. You see ahead of you the wonderful EZE Village, which we've featured in about 748 videos, I think, haven't we, so far? But it is still magical, particularly from here. You can hear that wind, and I have to say, the AMI's insulation is a bit minimal, isn't it?
Yes, I can
feel it up my garters.
Yeah, I can feel something between my legs.
I bet you can, Mr. Boo.
Quite a lot of cars behind us now.
Are there? So we're now starting to accumulate an even bigger queue than we had before, and I think this next section will be even more frustrating for them. And you see, this is, well, it is a 30 zone, but that really is all we can do up here. 30 kilometers an hour we're going. It's very hard work for Elton. He's just a tiny dancer up here, isn't he? I wonder if anybody will dare try and overtake here. We're down to 27.
Yeah, we're about to get the second zone.
This is oh. I don't think that Ferrari was enjoying being held up, do you?
No.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Sorry all you Ferrari drivers out there. Don't want to spoil your fun. 29. Yeah, I mean, this is, you know, this is where this car, steep uphill, this is very steep and very long. And we're at high altitude, but doing 29 on a 70 km/h road, I'd be lying if I said it's not causing other drivers some delay. It is. The difference is, in France, people are used to it. They've been behind things like this for 50, 60 years. So we are now headed for the ultimate test, which is the road down from the Grand Corniche to the Moyen Corniche.
Yes.
Yeah, it's super fast, super windy, no overtaking. I don't think there are many speed bumps, so generally speaking, people who know this road try and get back down into Monaco quickly. And it's sort of approaching rush hour now, isn't it?
Yes.
So it could be interesting. Let's see what happens. So we've got a car behind us. We've only gathered one so far, and but it is very narrow, this spectacular hairpin bends, and I mean hairpin. And you do get the feeling that this car with the monogas plates behind us is itching to get round. We seem to have now accumulated how many, Mr. Boo?
There are 4 cars behind us now.
4. I wonder if they'll remain patient or if anyone will attempt to overtake on this section. How many behind us now?
5.
Just the 5. Somebody who lost patience and wants to get back to Monaco for their tea. So we've got 6.
7 and a truck.
At least it's not our fault, Mr. Boo. It's that bus. So that was our road rage test. I hope that gives you a little bit of help in trying to decide whether this urban mobility object would work in your use case. If it does, please give this video a like, please give us a thumbs up, and please think about buying us a coffee. Have a great week, everyone. We'll see you on the next one. Bye.
I've been dreaming so much lately about your face when you're smiling. It's the only thing